Go to the Shadow Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, who's standing by this morning. As we say, good morning to you, Wes. Just before we get down to detail, because it's a very, very important thing you're talking about, which is a shortage of midwives around the country. Just your reaction to the migrant situation and government proposals as to what they plan to do about it.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to work at all, to be honest, and I think people, particularly who live along the coast, who literally see the consequences of these boat crossings washing up on their shores, I think they are absolutely sick of the gimmicks and the broken promises. There's not much different in terms of what the government's trailed in the media in recent days to what they put forward in their Nationality and Borders Bill last year. The truth is that to tackle small boat crossings, they have to do a number of things which don't grab the headlines and might sound a bit tedious and dull, but are actually the hard graft needed to sort it out. We need to speed up the processing of asylum claims. Fewer than 1% of small boat crossings in the last year have had their claims processed. That's the disgrace. Secondly, they've got to make sure that where people's applications are declined, that they're returned back to their country of origin as quickly as possible. The numbers there are down 80% compared to when Labour left office 13 years ago. And finally, we've got loads of criminal gangs in this country that are involved in this trafficking of people. Why not direct the hundreds of millions of pounds that are being wasted on the failed Rwanda scheme into the National Crime Agency so we can sweep these people up and put them behind bars? I think those are the practical steps that might give us a fighting chance of sorting out these small boat crossings. What the government's announced is a headline-grabbing gimmick that I just don't think will work in practice.
Two of your points there, definitely things that the Prime Minister has identified as being important, the speeding up of processing and the like. But the deterrent element, I notice you haven't talked about. There has to be a genuine deterrent element to what the government's proposing today, has it not? And that's got to try and go some way to stop what's also incredibly dangerous as well as costly for us here in the UK.
It is very dangerous, these crossings, very, very dangerous indeed. I think we've got to think about some of the people that are involved in this and people who are taking that risk of coming across. I'm not sure that any government messaging campaign about the deterrent would work effectively. And then there's a question of enforcement. I mean, short of tattooing their foreheads, how are we sure those people aren't going to try and come back in through another route? We do need safe and legal routes to work. The Afghan resettlement scheme, by the way, which is meant to do that, saw just 22 people come through Pathway 2 last year, compared with more than 8,500. And as for the who came via small boats, and as for the blanket ban, there's one case I was reading about recently of the Afghan veteran who had literally fought for our country and had come across on a small boat. And I thought, you know, we'd already failed that man with the way in which we withdrew from Afghanistan. We'd failed that man again by not providing him a safe and legal route to get here that he could use. Would we seriously fail a veteran like that and say, well, sorry, mate, because you came via a small boat, we're going to send you back even though you fought for our country? I don't think that's where the public are, actually. I don't think it's the right thing to do. What they do want is an immigration system they can have confidence in. They don't mind us taking refugees, genuine refugees. What they do mind is that it's hard to distinguish between genuine refugees and people who aren't, because we're not processing the claims. And even when we do process them, we don't send people back. That's what people are angry about, and that's what needs to be sorted out.